Red Flags of Emotional Repression, Part 28, Addiction to Emotions. Emotional addiction, or identification with your emotions, is a huge part of the process of emotional repression. Because you got to think, after a lifetime of pushing those feelings down into the unconscious body, you're going to become really familiar with and really attached to those particular feelings. So here's the mechanics of why emotional identification is the flip side of the coin of emotional repression. As kids, the first thing that happened before we learned that we had to repress and hide our emotions in order to stay safe and get love was that we had emotions, yeah? We got angry about this, or we got sad or hurt about that. But then around 2 or 3 years old, right, which may be why the twos are so terrible, we start to become conditioned enough to learn that we have to repress certain emotions around certain people, right? So I can't show mom my anger, or I can't show dad my sadness. Because if I do, they might get upset, or they might disconnect from me, right? And I won't get my needs met. So the order of things is, I get angry with mom and I need to, or I have to express it, but I can't. So I need to be angry, I have to be angry, but I can't be angry. This is the original root of suffering, right? I have to feel and express this, which is identification with emotion, but I can't feel and express this, which is the repression of that same emotion. It's a double bind, and it's what accounts for most forms of suffering in adulthood. This is at the root of addiction, depression, anxiety, chronic pain, and a slew of other diagnoses, right? At the unconscious level, there's still the child going, I have to, but I can't. So a really key part of coming out of emotional repression is coming out of emotional identification, but it has to happen in the reverse order, right? Let me tell you what I mean by that. Remember, repression came second, right? After we started identifying with our emotions, we put the lid on them. So in emotional repression work, first we have to take the lid off. We have to make the repression conscious, right? So using the Kill-A-Bee inquiries, we'd go into the body and we'd find what we call repression commands. So if you're an anger oppressor, a repression command would be like, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry, don't be angry. And then after a period of time working on that, as the body starts to let you more openly feel and express anger, most anger oppressors find that they're totally addicted to and identified with the anger that was buried underneath the repression. Here's what that means. They don't want to let it go. Because remember, the first thing that happened was that I have to, or I need to feel and express this anger, right? So in emotional repression work, we have to make that clinging to and identifying with the anger really conscious over a period of time. Then as we make the I have to's and the I can'ts conscious, our suffering ends because we're untying the double bind, right? We're able to feel and express anger, but we don't have to be angry. And that's a new state of being for someone that's repressed and identified with anger for their entire lives. And you can plug in hurt and sadness if you're a vulnerable emotion repressor here, right? You'll notice that this is really similar to what the recovering addict has to deal with, right? The I can't use, but I have to use. Well, here's what's amazing. As we come out of emotional repression, addictions actually resolve in the body, yeah? Because addiction is emotional repression. In the same way that an anger oppressor doing the work becomes free to take or leave their anger, an addict doing the work becomes free to take or leave their drug. It's pretty incredible, honestly. I mean, I've been around the block with addiction recovery, and I've never seen anything like this. It's very exciting. If it excites you too, visit repressiontest.com.